I don't think they'll ever be able to pull off something like that ever again where, okay, we're going to sign the group to Steve Rifkin over Loud, but we have an option for any one of these guys to go anywhere they want.
Speaking about Wu-Tang, I think we talked about this maybe on a previous show that I was on here with you guys. Is there can there be another Wu-Tang type clique ever again?
Could be.
I think it kind of depends on,
or has there been?
Like, it depends on like how we define them. Like, because there's been cliques, right? But you have to think of like the perfect storm that kind of happened for Wu-Tang to exist, when it did, how it did. It's like Reza's style of production was just super unique at that time. He brought all these people together that were essentially kind of from the same place. A lot of people were related to each other, knew each other from high school, and even probably younger than that. But then it became such I think it was the perfect storm for Wu-Tang because nobody had seen anything quite like that before. We've seen crews pop off post that. You could say that Brockhampton was kind of like that in their own type of way. You could say that Odd Future was like that in their own type of way. That's who I was pointing to, man. But you could say Pro Arrow was like that in their own type of the ASAP mob, like Save Money, Treated Crew. Like, these are people that tried that approach. Cut Camp, like we tried that approach, but Wu-Tang was just
pioneers.
It's just but it was like they're bigger than pioneers because they not only pioneered it, but they created something that I don't think can be replicated.
Nah, their execution was flawless, honestly. Yeah. Regardless of how you feel about them, as far as the newer material that materializes and the beats that you might not enjoy, but what they did was monumental. You can't really deny that. But I think we actually had that conversation before, and we brought up Odd Future as far as being
the closest thing to him.
Probably the closest thing to him, especially from a talent level, because multiple artists emerged from that. There's people that people don't even know were in Odd Future.
Did they put out a full collective project, like album?
I don't
know. I mean, I think that's another one of the big differences about
they did, yeah. They had the Jack in the Box symbol on it.
But like when you think of 36 Chambers, Wu-Tang Forever,
Jesus,
the W, like getting this many people a part of something, you could say Iron Flag. That's kind of where it stops for me.
Boo boo.
No, mine starts at the W.
Mine really stops at the W. But part of the Iron Flag was okay to me. But
was that the one with Gravel Pit?
No, that was the W.
Okay,
yeah.
I always gave every one of the albums a chance, though.
Up until Iron Flag. That's when the one afterward. It was like
I tried the 8 diagrams.
8 diagrams are Better Tomorrow, one of those two. I don't know.
Is that the one the Shirley dude?
No, that was
that's far after.
Silver Rings and no one's heard that.
No. Well, yeah, true.
No one we know.
But yeah, that I don't. But like they were known as a group too, so it wasn't like a crew. So that's also a difference between like Odd Future and a Brockhampton or even the Pro Era. Like this was a crew.
It was, and
what related people.
Yeah, and what made it unique is that so they dropped Enter the 36 Chambers. Then immediately after that was Method Man solo project. Then you got who was next?
Old Dirty Bastard.
ODB. Well, I don't know if he was next. Might have been Jizza. Anyway, but everybody had
their thing,
had their own record, their own personal record, and I knew a lot of people that rocked with all of them. Yeah. At least that first drop, everybody's first album actually was pretty decent if you look back.
Yeah, for sure.
So they set the No Limit blueprint. Great.
I'm just being, nice. As a collective to drop that many albums and they all were like, hey, I'm actually rocking with this. Or you had a handful of songs off of each one of those releases that you actually liked.
It wasn't like No Limit where it was just like every week.
Yeah, I mean, it took some time, but the difference was P actually, he signed all the people and they all came up under him.
Yeah.
As opposed to.
But I'm just saying, like, the contrast is.
The product was better.
It's,
Yeah.
Yes. But even still, like, we're talking about a group. And I don't know, like, you could even go to, even at the same period of time. Like even if you talk about like the Dungeon family, it's kind of the same type of way how that was built out, but it wasn't a group.
They had one album.
But it wasn't a group.
Yeah, it wasn't really.
It was like it's like
it
a
was
label.
so far after
They
the
work
time.
collectively together on a lot of their stuff.
It's not like,
but
hey,
yeah.
come to so and so arena to see the Dungeon family.
But also like to have all the members buy into, we are the Wu-Tang Clan. This is what we're going to do. We're going to put our faith in Reza. We're going to trust what he's doing, and we're just going to rock with it. And if you think about it, it was kind of weird. Like it's all this kung fu stuff going on, different, like it was a little bit different.
It
But
was way
shit,
different.
It was shit that people identify with. I remember watching them same kung fu movies.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying, on like Friday nights or Saturday.
Yeah.
So it kind of resonated with the people that were coming up at the time.
But it was super
But it was different as
niche,
far as music is concerned.
super niche, like just the entire thing. Like to lean as far into it as they did, and for it to be as big is kind of crazy.
But
It is.
even with what you talk about the kung fu, and this is when it was so many references to the comic books and stuff, and this is before the MCU. So like, they'd be talking about stuff from comic books, and it was kind of niche. Anything from 80s cartoons or action flicks from Hong Kong. These were not things that were in the mainstream. It's not like they were doing a bunch of Star Wars and Indiana Jones references. They were doing things where you had to already know what it was to make it make sense.
Yeah.
And I just think, and even from a business side, I don't think they'll ever be able to pull off something like that ever again where, okay, we're going to sign the group to Steve Rifkin over Loud, but we have an option for any one of these guys to go anywhere they want. There's absolutely no way somebody would be like, okay, we'll sign the group, but we got the option to maybe they did that first right of refusal, but the fact that Method Man was on Def Jam, Old Dirty Bastard was on Elektra, Sony had Ghostface Killer, Raekwon stayed with Loud,
And they all could still work with each other.
Exactly. It wasn't like, oh, we can't do this because they won't allow Jizza to be in Inspector Deck's video.
Yeah, it'll never happen again. Reason why it'll never happen again is there are too many resources, and there are too many people that want to be the front man anyway. Nobody's going to fall in line the same way that they did back then. People aren't as hungry to get into the music business as they were, or as a lot of artists back then, because their goal was to get a record deal. Now you can just put out whatever you want to put out, and if something sticks, they come looking for you. So I don't think that type of situation will ever happen again.
Yeah. Yeah. To answer your question, I don't think it can. I don't think it has, and I don't think it will. Like on any plane almost. Like I just watched a mini, I've seen it before, but me and my wife have been watching South Park front to back because it's funny, and also, she's learning English, like all the nuances of it, and it's a great way to learn it. But we watched one of their mini documentaries, which is like like in 6 days or whatever it's called, where they pretty much return, they make an episode in 6 days. And even the level of buy-in that like something like their team has to have for them to produce what they did at such a high level is something you just don't see. It's just like the amount of people that have to be thinking and on the same page, and it's all dependent upon Trey and Matt, whatever, to do this thing and come up with the ideas. Even though they have a team and all this stuff, it's like that stuff in general is kind of rare.
Yeah, I don't see that happening even in that particular, medium or genre ever again.
Yeah.
I'll never forget, and this is how I knew how crazy it was with their turnaround. I don't know if you guys remember the Terry Schiavo case. It's kind of a dark turn. But I remember they had jokes like right after she died. It was like, it wasn't even 24 hours.
Yeah.
And they had a reference to it in the episode for that week.
Yeah.
I mean, just crazy.
But it's just like that type of, I still think that type of buy-in works, but it's just really hard to like, you just don't see it anymore. You just don't see it like across any plane anymore. So, because that's the only way that the Wu-Tang Clan could have worked. Was like everybody had to be bought into it. Everybody had to be, at least for an X period amount of time. So,
or at least until it was like, okay, you've established enough on your own to where you don't have to wait for it. Like, and that was kind of the issue in Wu-Tang, is like some people had to wait on Wu-Tang to get money.
But that's the thing. It's like we are building Wu-Tang together. Everybody has their individual thing. We are going to set you up to do your individual thing, and then we'll come back to Wu-Tang collectively. But everybody's going to be set up to do their thing to be able to take it where they can take it.
Right.
I think that's a good. We've recently talked about that stuff even, but like I think that's a good model. But
Yeah.